Hey everybody, I have tried my damnedest to fix this audio problem where my lips are not moving with my with the voice. It's the audio file is not loading in properly with the video file. It looks great, and then when I export it, it doesn't look great. I've racked my brain. So, on with the podcast, regular intro. I got a really cool, and there's the text coming in to make me look even less professional. After the intro, I have a really cool little segment called Mike versus Mike, Mike versus Roach. You're going to love it. It's like 40 seconds long. Then the podcast. The middle of the podcast should have the biggest issue. Maybe again at the end. It's perfect sounding, but the video and audio are going to slowly not match up as well. And it's going to look like a bad dubbed, the old Kung Fu flicks? Yeah, kind of like that. I also have an outro. It's a work in progress. You're on the journey. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. Stayed up super late, woke up super early, and I can't fix this particular one, but I think I know what I can do to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. I appreciate your patience with my work, and I promise you my work ethic is there. And I thank you all for dealing with this while I figure it out. I hold myself accountable, and I'm pretty rough on myself, so anything you're feeling about this, I'm 10 times meaner to myself, but hopefully you enjoy the content anyway, because it's pretty good, I think. Yeah. Thank you. Let's get to work. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Mike Roach Show.
Look at yourself. Jesus, what are you wearing? You look like a. Wait, who in the fuck? Who the shit? Who in the fuck are you? You need to slow down your speech and stop swearing because it's not making you sound smarter. You sound like a sailor, and you're not our father. So maybe you could tighten up the demographic a little bit if you weren't cursing all the time.
So, are you my brother?
No, I'm from the future, you idiot. Tell them what episode it is.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Mike Roach Show.
Oh, look, he can count. Fantastic.
How did y'all like that intro, huh? A little different. Kind of changed it up a bit. That's not going to be the intro. I was thinking it could be like episodes of Mike talking to Roach. And those episodes would kind of come together to being like one grand episode at the end of a season or something. But I'm not that good yet, so I'm not going to do that. But it is interesting to get down that route. We'll come back. We'll come back to Adobe and editing and intros and stuff later. How the hell have all of you been this week? You see me on Instagram? 8-minute abs, son. Working on that, getting down to my fighting weight, as Bill Burr would say. Weight's not an issue, just getting cut up for summer, getting shredded. It's something I want to do. It's ego, but it makes me happy, so it ain't hurting nobody. Feels good. Plus, exercise is good for your brain. If you don't think that, go for a fucking jog. See, I'm trying not to swear as much. Go for a jog. Tell me you don't feel that. Tell me you don't feel that at the end of the jog. Like when you go for that run, you burn yourself out. There's been so many people. It's a confirmed thing. Runner's high is real. Like if you went for a run, and you came back an hour later, and your car was crushed by a boulder, you look at your car and go, "Can't believe it, a boulder." Versus how you would react normally. The endorphins and stuff that gets going in your head. It's so good for you to sweat and burn and just work out and fight through the suck. It's very good mentally. I think it comes back to that thing like Rogan and all of them talk about where it's the struggle. Like all of your favorite comedians and actors and actresses, most of them struggled with something. Even if they had more money or better opportunities financially when they were younger or in their whatever than you have or had, they might have had something mentally, psychologically that they really struggled with, like just not feeling worth whatever it is, darkness in their past that made them, have to push. And I think that's what makes I think Rogan and them are right. That makes people funny. It really gives people it gives you a perspective, I think. And I think perspective is everything. I learned that a few years back. I even said to my wife when it happened, I was like, yeah, I think perspective is the word of this year. Because really taking yourself out of your element and putting yourself in someone else's shoes and then looking back on your life and reflecting, oh, we're going deep on this intro, huh? We're just getting right into the heart of this kind of shit. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Let me get some coffee here. Let's wake up. When you go perspective-wise and you kind of like, and I don't mean that nonsense you hear all the time. I don't mean to say nonsense, but that line, oh, first world problems. Yeah, that's where we live. Smart ass. Good for you. No, I'm talking about third world problems that I'm not aware of. Then on the other side of that, it's, well, there are people out there in the world dealing with a lot worse shit than you. So shut up. Nobody wants to hear it. There's a balance between those two. But the perspective to know that you've been through some things that make you strong. Having that, ego's a funny thing. You go too far one direction and you're an ass. You're Trump. You're just, I'm the best. There are things I do, no one else does. China, And then you go the other way and you're this meek beta puss. For lack of a better way of putting it, you know what I mean? Like you're this meek little, no, I don't think they'll like it, so I'm not going to do it. I'd like to do a podcast or, I really got to focus on something on this because excuse, whatever the hell it is you're doing. And you get into this this rut of saying you can't. There's overconfidence and then there's just none. And I think you got to find that balance. And having perspective and life experience, I think, gives you that balance. How the hell did I get here? Where are we? Oh, I'll tell you how I got here. I just recorded a podcast for 45 minutes and realized that it was shit. That just happened. Partially because not enough of this coffee. The other reason being that the microphone. Do you like the new digs out here? You like this? Better than the green screen, huh? Check this out. This is not green. Watch this. Sorry, Albert. The green screen had to go. I look back on some of the stuff I've been doing, and I like the green screen. I like the idea of the Daily Show type of thing where I do like interviews or something, or potentially using the clone technique that you saw in part of that intro and doing interviews with myself because I don't have a cast or a crew. Like if there was credits at the end of this podcast, it would just be produced by Mike Roach, written by Mike Roach, screenplay, everything. It's all me, 1,000. Which is something I kind of take pride in. I can't wait until I get to the point where I can let some of that go, and then hope that I have the ability to let go of some of that control. I'm a bit of a control freak. My wife will tell you. Where the hell was I? Oh yeah. Looking at the old podcasts, one of the things that I noticed was, yeah, the green screen's cool, and I can see where that can be really dope for later, for comic like skits and shit. But as far as right now goes, I like the lighting. I liked how much effort I'd put in off the jump. But you tell me a YouTuber that looks back at his original stuff and likes it. Nah, you got to learn from your old stuff. So I looked at it objectively. Had to go. I did it with a sports card video that I released, and I have another one that's coming out. Shout out to Sal Sports Cards, Sal's _sports_ cards. He's out in was it Buffalo, Canada? Sorry, Sal, I don't remember. You were in New York for the weekend or something, but I don't remember where you're actually from, where you stay at. But he hooked me up. I met him on Instagram, and I asked him if he would mind looking and screening my YouTube sports card. I did a second one that I thought I did much better. It's still the cell phone content from the overhead cell phone content. If you've seen the sports cards, fine. If you haven't, skip forward 30 seconds or just listen and shut up. the overhead thing with the cell phone. I put the cell phone in my cupboard above where I'm pulling the cards out and showing them to the camera, because I didn't have the Canon set up yet. But the intro is me like this on the Canon with a black background. And yeah, I got some really good advice from him, some constructive criticism. And that's what I asked him for, was constructive criticism. Like, tell me where you see lacking in this. And overall, a lot of the stuff that was wrong was stuff that I knew was wrong. And I had to account for, because it's old footage that I didn't want to throw out. And so I'm using old footage for the cards, but new footage and new production style for the intro and the outro. And a lot of it was constructive. I might need someone who knows more about college sports and sports in general. Perspective. My ego was telling me, oh, sports, I know about sports. I don't know shit. I know about football. I know Seahawks. MMA? Oh, I know MMA all day. Hardcore. You know how people say, I'm a hardcore fan. Have you watched every single pay-per-view and Fox fight that has happened, from Fight Pass prelims all the way to the main event, 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 9:30 at night, every single weekend for the past 3 years? And beyond that, but specifically the past 3 years? No, you haven't? Okay. Again, I'm a hardcore MMA fan. That's why getting into jiu-jitsu was easier for me, I think. Besides the whole fear of walking into a gym, and man, that's scary. But anyway, some people out there are like, dude, you sound like such a baby. It was scary. I was intimidated. But see how I'm all over the place? I like this better. I kind of like being just a nutty person, being myself all around and jacked on coffee, than I do. Oh, the 45 minutes of diarrhea that I just deleted was crap. Anyway, Sal Sports Cards, he hooked me up with some constructive criticism. And also, shouts out to my man on the Chromatic Distortion podcast for really hipping me to some information. And in general, being a polite person with some good insight. I do not have an audio podcast for this yet. And I don't think that these episodes that have happened, nor this episode, are going to ever make it to audio. I'm pretty sure these are going to live on YouTube. And here in the next few episodes, it's going to become both audio and video. I need to find a podcast host that works with WordPress and my URL that I'm getting. I found a couple through Lisbon and Blueberry. I believe it's pronounced Blueberry. And possibly Transistor that work. You can use SoundCloud. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I talked about it in the last episode. You need a place to post all of your audio. So the audio I'm recording right now on the Blue Snowball into my laptop, I'm going to have more mics. I have a mixer and stuff. And you record the audio, and you have to be able to upload that audio to a podcast host. That podcast host then disperses it through WordPress. And I still don't fully understand, but I know that it's the WordPress part I'm learning. But it disperses your podcast across things like iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that stuff. You can use SoundCloud, but there are some issues with SoundCloud. And there are some red flags with that company laying off all the employees it did last year. People are, of course, like every other company, right up to the end, they'll be like, oh no, we're doing great, we're producing profit, and then they're gone. And if that's where your podcast lived, bye-bye. So one of the things that the Chromatic Distortion podcast, that gentleman told me, was Anchor. I don't think Anchor is going to work for what I'm planning long term, and I'm trying to take the Gary Vee approach. I want to just put content out, which I'm doing here on YouTube, but when it comes to the podcast audio-wise, I want to really attack where I want to be and learn that host and how to use it. Anchor's not going to work for what I want to do, but I thank you very much for that information. You should check out the Chromatic Distortion podcast. Pretty cool podcast. I dig it. But the reason why Anchor won't work for me, it's just the long-term goal. It's not going to work. How Anchor works, which I think is really awesome for people who want to get a podcast going. I mean, stop making excuses. You can do it right here on your phone. Anchor is free. You do the podcast on your phone. If you wanted to have Bluetooth like I do or headphones, you could plug in, and then you can actually hear yourself with the feedback, which is funny because every time I do this, I notice that I talk a little bit slower and my words are a little more precise in how I'm using them. I almost go down an Obama road. Now, let me be clear. The next guy that will do this job is going to be orange with hair that's questionable at best. Anyway, you can hear yourself while you're talking like you would with a headset. So it helps you with how you're speaking. You can have somebody else call too and then have a guest on the podcast, and it's all recorded right there on your phone. You do it all through your phone, and it's uploaded, and then they put it on iTunes and everywhere else for you. Now they will have Anchor on your stuff. They do. It's free for a reason. They're gonna put their logos and stuff on your information, on your podcasts, and some other things. Look into it. I'm not crapping on them at all. I think it's phenomenal that that's available. Really though, like just getting off the ground, and people have so many excuses. Anchor takes away those excuses. Just start doing it. If you're a single mom and you raise a bunch of kids or whatever it is, and you're like, I know hacks, life tricks, hacks about saving money, or I got hacks about how to do this and that, or laundry, or getting your kids to listen to this, or tricks for that, for these different ages. There's a lot of moms out there that would love that info, and you could start putting out a podcast today. Right there on your phone for free. And if you like it and it catches on, you don't have to stay on Anchor. You can jump to something else. Find one for, But back to the Chromatic Distortion podcast. He was dope. I listened to a little bit of his, another one of those things where I saw him on I was searching through tags on Instagram, trying to build my Instagram platform. And I listened to some of his shit. And I'm a little picky. I like to like everything like people tell you to do. Go to tags. Hashtags, search something that's under 500,000. These are tactics. If you don't know about these tactics, feel free to use them. They work. Search for something under 500,000. Go to recent instead of popular. Go to recent. That way you can be one of the first ones on there. Go check their thing, like the last 3 to 5 posts that they did. Leave a comment on one of those posts if you feel so inclined to be able to leave a comment. Don't copy and paste the comment. I love your page. Really like your page. I don't believe that you actually wrote that. And if you did, you wrote it and never actually looked at my page. Now, when I leave a comment, it's real and you know that I actually watched your content and looked at your page. So I tend to get more engagements. I believe that's how I met Sal Sports Cards and how I met Chromatic Distortion Podcast, because I'm being genuine. I'm not bullshitting you. And I listened to some of the clips he had on Instagram. Dude, right up my alley, man. I'm into politics to an extent, and the news is full of full of it on both sides. If you listen to Fox or CNN, if you watch that stuff and you believe that rhetoric, that's people talk about Russian propaganda. That is propaganda too. That is nonsense. And one of the things I like about his podcast is he was going into like Syria and how we funded ISIS in Syria, but we're fighting ISIS in Iraq. And it's all true stuff. It's all black and white. There's documents. It's right there. It's right there. No joke. I talk about it ad nauseum sometimes when I go down a rabbit hole with my friends. Especially when I used to smoke weed. I'd smoke some weed and then get in my own head, and then I'd just start talking, and we would just go down this political wormhole of like how dark and twisted the global politics is. Can't even really blame America. I mean, you can if you want to be, just find a reason to point a finger, but this is just global politics now. And yeah, there's people that play a role in it, but it's dark, man. How you get out of this, I don't know. I do not know. Without some massive change, and I don't even want to start talking about that because then I get put on a fucking list. See, swearing again. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying. But yeah, Chromatic Distortion Podcast, Sal Sports Cards. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. It's meeting people like you on Instagram that makes this kind of journey worth it. This is the beginning of a beautiful thing, and I thank y'all very much. Oh, is that the? What is that? Is that a shadow? Oh no, it's on the camera. Wow, I'm an idiot. On the camera, there's like the buttons you can press on the screen that I'm looking at right there. that's like for taking a picture or going to the home screen or settings. And I thought it was the picture of my cat that's up there out of the shot on the wall. And I'm like, what? I thought I positioned the camera so it was just Einstein, dude. Burnt out. One last shout out. Killer Cards. Card Killer with a K. K-A-R-D Killer. Dude on Instagram is hilarious. If you've been into the sports card tip at all, dude is funny as fuck. There I go again. I can't stop. I'm an addicted addict to swearing. I'm an addicted addict. What can I do? He's funny. He'll take cards and like put them into like he'll take 1 of 1 or 1 of 10 or whatever, like Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards, autograph cards, and have like a whole Instagram skit where like you light a match and it slowly burns with music in the background, and then you find out it's surrounded by matches and the whole thing goes up and it burns the card. It is hilarious. As Sal Sports Card said it best, he was like, I think the funniest part sometimes is in the comments when he's trolling people. Because some people get so pissed off that he's doing this. Like, that's not sports card. Shut up. I hear that crap too about, oh, eBay and you're selling them and you're just trying to make money. This is about the collection. Shut up. This is about whatever I want it to be about. It's America. It's a free country. It's a free country. As Crystalia says. Shut up. Blow me. Yeah, Card Killer, you're hilarious, bro. That shit cracks me up. I'm going to get a card from him soon, and I'm going to have it up on the wall somewhere where we'll start the podcast collection of things people send in or I build for the DIY, whatever. We'll have some cool stuff on the wall that goes along with the show. We'll get some catchphrases of our own going, and we'll get some cool stuff up here. For right now, we're going to stick with Albert because he reminds me that you can be real smart and have horrible handwriting. Horrible handwriting, okay? Arrows every which way. This is... speaking of this, so the podcast ran into those issues with the host. Just kind of came to the conclusion that if I'm going to pay for a host, I have to have all my equipment set up and be ready to do audio now. So Adobe Audition I'm going to get. And until I'm in the position to have all those parts that I need, I'm not going to start paying for a host. Some of them are free, depending on how much you're putting on there. So I could set that up with the free WordPress. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is boring as hell. So I apologize. I'll try and speed this up, but I need to get Adobe. I just said it. I don't remember what I said. I need to get the audio Audition. Yeah. Something to record my audio that's not Audacity, because Audacity is cool and all, but it's free for a reason. And I can't change certain things in there that I need to change. I've been doing a lot of research. And I think with this one, I have a little paralysis by analysis, but for a good reason. I don't want to jump into this wrong. I don't mind doing the video content wrong. I don't mind having these videos, which sounds bizarre, but I don't mind that this version of me is going to live on YouTube forever, on the internet. Whatever. I don't care. I'll learn from this. The audio one, I want to make sure it's a more polished content when it comes out. So another week or two, and I'll have it out. It's not like it's getting put off till next year or anything. I'm not making excuses like that. There's certain things I want to get better at first with how I'm talking and what I'm learning, slowing down. You'll notice me kind of my pace changes as I'm talking. And I like speeding up when I get invested in something emotionally or I'm talking about something passionately. But when I'm just talking like now, and I talk like this, and it's just coming out really fast, I'm trying to tweak that, I don't have the broadcaster. I have the salesman. That's where I learned my gab, my gift of gab, was in sales. That doesn't always translate to stereo or to radio podcasting. So I'm honing it. I will get this. I will figure this out. But as I'm learning that, and as I'm trying to figure out what voice recording software I'm going to use for my audio recording software, it doesn't make any sense to take on another bill, especially now that I'm out of vacation time from work and I'm making no money. It doesn't make sense to take on another bill when it's not ready to go out yet. So that's it in a nutshell, y'all. It'll be out soon. You're just going to have to deal with my ugly face until then. Speaking of podcast, I bought impulsively a bunch of podcast equipment. if you're on my Instagram, you saw I bought a box and I was like, ooh, here it is. And I opened it up and there was arms for microphones and all this stuff. And it was low end, cheap. It's not crap. I could see how a lot of it would work, but I went so budget that when I looked at it, I felt sick. Like I would rather go garage sale and turn that content into a vlog with the camera where I'm getting stuff for far cheaper than it costs normally than using that stuff on the podcast and the other stuff I get selling on eBay and making that content for flipping and just having it be a full circle of content versus spending $12 a piece on JVC headset that has no padding on top that hurt just looking at it. Not worth it. It's not worth it. The arms for the microphones wouldn't clamp to any of the tables I have. So now I got to get a new table. No. I'm not even ready for it. I can be myself here. I can talk into this mic here. And I'm good to go. No worries. I'm thinking about doing a podcast co-host, though. I have some friends who have shown interest in doing that. My concern, which it doesn't matter if I talk about here because he's never going to watch this, which I don't give a shit. I really don't. My only concern is that whoever I pick, I'm going to pick based off of a friend level and where I think we feed off each other comically, that it's going to be funny, but not at all picking off of who I know is going to be reliable to be here every week. Because this content's coming to you every week, no matter what. I'm doing this Wednesday morning this time, the day it comes out. It's, what time is it? 9:18. Hey, my birthday, sucker. September 18th. That's what it says. Is that a sign? I don't believe in that shit, but is that a sign? Might be. Damn, maybe I do have to... Is that a sign? I don't... You know what? I'm going to text that person right after this podcast. Because that's a sign. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it right now, so I'm held to it. No, I'm not. You like how indecisive I am? Yeah, my wife gets to deal with that. No, I'm fairly decisive most of the time. With this, I'm very indecisive, just for the simple fact that I don't want to make the wrong decision. And I know what Gary Vee says and what you're saying. If you watch Gary Vee, you're better off just making a decision than making no decision. Make a decision. Try it. Doesn't work? Kill it. Try something else. It's easier said than done when it's with a friend. Because if I invite a friend on to do this and then they're not reliable, I have to cut them out. And I don't like doing that kind of stuff. It hurts. I'm very direct and honest and raw with people. Almost to a fault where it's like, damn, Mike, did you have to say it like that? Yeah, I did. You're a drunk. Fix your life. I'm sick of watching you throw your life away. Like, that's me. Like, legitimately. I'll be nice, and then there'll come a moment when it's the right time and I'll go, hey, dude, why? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing? I'm that person. And even though I'm that person, there's other things that I will let go on, whether it's letting someone borrow money that doesn't pay you back in time, and then letting them do it again. I learn from it. Like, I forgive, and I never, ever, ever, ever forget. I have one friend in mind right now, and you know who you are. He's probably laughing right now. He took $2.50 off my table for bus fare and didn't ask me. I know what you're thinking. Dude, it's change. Yep, could have asked me. Left a note. Don't take money. Never brought it up. If I didn't notice, he never would have brought it up. But I forgave him. I'll never forget. Ever. I guess, and that's the thing, is I think there's a balance between forgiving people and then holding a grudge. Like, don't hold a grudge. Forgive them. It's not worth the energy. It's really not. I know people say, yeah, but there's this one dude, man. He fucking, I get it, but it doesn't, it ain't worth the rent up here, man. You letting people live up here rent free. Fuck that. Nah. But don't ever forget it. Because you learn from that stuff. Anyway, let's go back. Let's get off topic here. the three friends I have in mind for this, if they wanted to do it, there's no money in it yet. And it'd be great to have people here to do skits with, but like, I don't know anyone that has my level of dedication to this, and that's not their fault. It's because I'm building this for me, that obviously I have this kind of dedication because it's my thing. So why would no one else is going to have the kind of dedication you have. That's something you learn when you start having employees or whatever, that, you know, you got to give them responsibilities and give them the chance to fail, because they're not going to do it like you. It's not their company, you know, but you have to be okay with that. Delegating responsibilities. Anyway, I'm just worried that that's going to be the case. So I'm pussyfooting around it, but I wonder if I should have a co-host. I'm really wondering. Who would I use for a co-host? There's a few people I have in mind. I'd want to ask. They'd probably say no, honestly, because it'd be a weekly commitment. The same time every week on that day, no matter what, you have to be here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you can't be here every week on that day, why are we doing it? So, like, literally, you'd have to be able to say, like, or like, oh, dude, Father's Day barbecue. Yeah, I'll be there late. I have to podcast. Like, to the point where people would get used to your schedule and be like, oh yeah, no, he won't be able to be here because he's got studio time at 3, so he won't be able to be here. We should do it at 5. Like, people should have to work around your schedule for that. And if they can't, they can't. Oh well, because you're always going to be doing that at that time, that day, that week, every week. So hopefully I can get that to happen. That'd be cool. I think someone to feed off of. I don't know. Sitting here rambling to myself is kind of fun though too, because there's no one to call me on my nonsense, which is kind of fun. But no, really, it'd be cool to have somebody else here too. And I think it'd have to be a different format though, because it couldn't be talking about side hustle and getting stuff off the ground, because I don't know anyone that's interested in this like I am at all. Which is cool. I mean, everyone, if you're happy, you're happy. That's all that matters to me, is my friends are happy, and they seem pretty happy. So good for them, but I don't have anyone that I know of that's in the same mindset as me. Just like the tip that I'm on right now, trying to like build something on the side and spend all my spare time and spare money building something else. I don't know. So it'd be cool to find somebody like that to have on here. Potentially somebody even farther along than I am now, to kind of show the fruit of the hard work. But anyway, that's where my head's at. Impulsive podcast buys. I returned all that stuff. Actually doing a vlog about it. Oh my god, have you seen my vlog? Jesus Christ. It's just like, I'm out there just returning stuff. No, for real, it's kind of tight. I'm doing the vlog now. I hasn't released one yet. I got a lot of editing to do that I'm learning how to do. But the vlog yesterday had to do with the knee. I got the stitches out. Went to Swedish. And got dinner for the wife, for the family. Did a bunch of Adobe Premiere work. Caught a hold of Amazon, because I've never done an Amazon return before. And I got a question. Bezos, hey, bud, do me a favor. Just because in your marriage you don't want to be with the same box, you gotta get new box. How come I gotta get new box? All the stuff I ordered came in one box, but I gotta send it back in 3 boxes. What's that about? What's that about? You can't pay for the shipping? You paid for the shipping to get it here. You got it here same day. But I gotta I gotta buy or find a way to get more boxes? I don't need more box. I'm happily married. You're the one that needs more box. You deal with the box, huh? Why don't you send me a box? You got enough money? Go ahead and send me a box. Nah, I talk. If you don't know what box is, you don't know what I'm talking about. But I think it's 2019, so everybody should. Yeah, maybe send it back in 3 different boxes, 3 different packing labels I had to print out. Boo-hoo, woe is me, I know, but when your knees are a little beat up and you don't have it all came in one freaking box. Why can't I send it back in one box? Huh? So I went down there. The dude at UPS was dope. Real nice guy. Actually does a podcast himself and has some inspirational words. It was like a I swear I met the Gary V of UPS employees, like legit. And I've always had bad times at the South Center UPS store in Tukwila. This time was legit. The guy down there was awesome. Shout out to that dude. Motivating as all get out. Sent it all back, man. Got the refund. Money back in the bank. That money's going to go into getting a better phone for my wife, getting a better phone for me with a better camera so we can get more content, and just save up for a better camera for the podcast and for vlogging and stuff. But I figured recording all that stuff, I got like 75 pieces of information between pictures and video clips. So I can start doing B-roll footage. Shout out to Peter McKinnon. Oh, that's unprofessional. Oh, that is unprofessional. What do we got here? And I'm checking it, but that's because, life be out here. Okay, let's mute that. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Not sure about the podcast yet. Next couple of weeks, we'll have it off the ground. I just got to make sure I'm doing everything properly with the host and the WordPress and the URL and everything else. I have mics. I kept the mixer. I sent everything back except my friend, shout out to Seth Stern McNasty. I got like 10 nicknames for that kid. Really good kid. I swear, I think of that guy like a little brother. Or like a real close cousin. He's a really good dude. Young man. Fuck, smarter than I was at his age. Smarter in most ways. Yeah, almost everything. He hooked me up. He worked at a music store and he got me a discount. And it's going to be really good for the future. It's set up for 4 microphone plugins. Only one thing for headphones, but you can buy a mini amp that you can plug multiple headphones into. That'll be really nice. But other than that, everything went back. It's just not worth it right now. Keep the money in-house. Yeah, so that's the week in reflection. Vlogging and editing on Adobe Premiere has turned out great, as you saw with the intro and the mix-up there. I was thinking about doing a Mike Roach show thing every week, but I'm not skilled enough for that yet. I like the Mike talking to Roach thing. Have it all come down at the very end where it's all one big episode of its own, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force did in the beginning of theirs with the space people and the other one. If you've ever seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you know what I'm talking about. The intro of all those episodes, there was like a little mini clip of like the crazy doctor up in the castle, the mad scientist, or there's the one with the 2 alien dudes, and then the other 2 alien dudes that came on later, the pixelated ones. And if you actually buy the DVD set, you can watch. If you take that first like 15-second clip that they did at the beginning of every episode, or a 1-minute clip, at the end of a season, all of them actually went together in chronological order, and it was its own episode. I thought about doing something cool like that with this, but I'm gonna wait until I get a little better with Adobe Premiere. That I'm not that good yet, but it's definitely a better system to use than Filmora. Just more advanced, more options. You start getting creative on Filmora, and then you run into certain roadblocks that limit your ability to think outside the box. Whereas with Adobe, you can do anything. You are limited by your imagination and your knowledge of the program. And that's only a tutorial away. Sadly, even with tutorials, you'll go, huh? Because the people in the tutorials, it's like I have to do more of the... I need to get a more broad understanding of the basics so that I can understand the nomenclature and the things that the people in the tutorials are even talking about. But just like anything, getting better, looking back on this podcast from last week and the weeks prior, seeing myself in the green screen room, had to do some changes. You got to reflect on what you've done and change it up. And that was a key thing. I think it looks much better out here. But the green screen skits are coming though. There's going to be some funny comedy content coming. I can't wait for that. And some vlogging, kind of taking you through the journey and taking you on missions and where we're going, what we're doing. And I'm sure it's going to be fun. I know it is. We're going to make it even better and better. What am I at now? Oh, wow. We're up to 37 minutes. Okay, let me, you know what? We're going to go ahead and take a break to, keep the lights on around here, pay some bills. We'll be right back. And we're back. Oh, Yep, so hopefully that was an actual sponsor. I think I have one tagged and nailed down, but we'll see. If there was no sponsor break there, then you're welcome. If there was, you're welcome again, because that money is going to buy better equipment and give you better content. Say it with your chest. What? I'm a nut, y'all. Vlogging, editing, chromatic distortion is great. Peterson. Yeah, I got notes. I got notes. What? You don't take notes? Do better. 8-minute abs. Been doing that every day. Bought pizza last night to cook dinner for the wife. Pizza for dinner is not cooking for your wife. It's being a lazy ass. And 8-minute abs barely made up for the dent that the pizza put into the old belly. So I'm not going to get shredded by summer like I want. Eating like that. I wanted to play a little clip for you. Another thing, hold me accountable on this. That being said, I gotta stop saying that so much. Also, I gotta stop. It's when I watch myself, I want to scream at me. It's so annoying. Between going like this, which I do every 5 minutes, and can't take it. Drives me nuts. See? Right there. I did that one on purpose, though. I want to play you a little clip of something. I think it really pertains to life right now for all of us, which is one of the things I'm trying to work on is changing things in my life, doing things differently. Perspective is a beautiful thing, and it's taught me a lot. And I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, perspective was my word of the year, you know. And I just want to say, how do I put this? Posture, for instance, having better posture, sitting up straight. I have a long ass neck. Okay, I look like a giraffe. All right, like, and my head isn't really like, I don't have like that big defined jaw. Like, I have a decent jaw, and like profile wise, you can tell, you know, I have a head. I'm standing straight on. I look like one long neck. I mean, this thing is just massive, right? I slouch, and I've noticed I've gotten worse over the years. So I'm beginning to think that it's not so much about bad habits and like having bad habits, it's that the bad habits get worse if left unchecked. I think that's the same thing with personality. Whether it's alcoholism, smoking pot, scratch tickets, whatever your vice is. If left unchecked, you tend to not just have the bad habit, but the bad habit spirals. And you become more affirmed in your it becomes more of a concrete thing that you do. It's there. It's a part of you. By tweaking my posture and changing things up, I think I'm testing myself in a way. No humble brag. I'm being serious. It's like something I'm really happy about. If you're a very introverted person, put yourself into positions where you have to communicate or talk out loud. You know, reading books that, you know, I'm going to play a clip for you. I'm going to shut up and let somebody with a PhD talk for about, 30 seconds. Just listen to what he's saying.
And the answer is develop some of the micro routines on the other side of the personality distribution. So if you're disagreeable as hell, maybe you could start learning how to do nice things for people. And that actually works, by the way. So if you take disagreeable people who are depressed and you get them doing nice things for other people, their depression tends to lift. But then by the same token, if you're agreeable, then you should practice doing some things for yourself and being more tough-minded in your negotiations. And so you can sort of place yourself on the personality trait distribution. You know, you're extroverted. It's like, okay, man, learn to spend some time with yourself, right? You're low in openness. Well, try reading a book that's outside of your sphere of interest now and then. If you're conscientious, well, you should probably learn how to relax occasionally, and so forth. So you can, I think partly what you're doing as you're developing your personality is not moving the mean much, the average, where you're located, but you're extending the standard deviation so that you're a bigger bag of tricks.
Aha. I think that's so true. For me, it's being extroverted and always hanging out with my friends on the weekends. My wife and I both hanging out with our friends every weekend. UFC fights. I'm a hardcore MMA fan. And hanging out with my friends on the weekends every weekend. And it's just... I love my friends, and this has nothing to do with them. It has to do with me and spending more time with myself. I've always found escapism in hanging out with my friends. Being with like-minded people to an extent. I don't know if it was partly a crutch. Most of my friends have told me, you know, you got to make time for your friends and family and have that because it's important to make that time, you know, once a week or something, you know, just have time with you. While I agree that it's important to have time and a social life, I have been nothing but a social life from the age of 16 until about 27. I stopped kicking it every day with people. And now at 30, I'm not kicking it on the weekends. And by kicking it, I just mean hanging out with my friends. Since 27, 26 to now, I'm not drinking. I'd smoke some weed, which I don't do anymore, you know, but I didn't. It's just being around people, that social butterfly, that extrovert in me, being around other people all the time. And I feel like I almost handicapped myself by being around people who made it okay for me to do that. And I'm not saying anything negative about my friends. They're family to me. I mean, they're like brothers and sisters that I never had. They're great people. But I want to start a business. I want to start a brand. I'm going to invest in myself. And by listening and taking the advice that, you know, you got to make sure you make time for your family, and, you know, you can't burn it all the time at both ends. You got to manage who you're getting your advice from. And while I love them with all of my heart, I can't take business advice. And I can't take starting your own brand and company and business advice from people who have not done that. And I think I was using it as an out. I think by surrounding myself with these wonderful people who I love very, very much to the bottom of my heart, who have been there for me and who told me, Mike, stop drinking. You are a mess. People that stuck with me through thick and thin. I love them. I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. They've built part of my personality that I love. But by the same token, I think I was using that as an escape, or justifying. That's the word I'm looking for. It's justifying my not having enough time to do these things I want to just, you know, I have enough time, you know? Just I'm talking about not having enough time while I'm spending an entire day, an entire Saturday with my friends. Every Saturday. Cooking food, grilling, watching the fights, talking politics, talking shop, BSing about sports, whatever it is. Then comes Sunday, let's get together and watch a football game. Oh, let's get some food together, let's do this and that, do some chores around the house. All that time? What? After work, playing video games with my friends online. Xbox Live. Oh, I loved it. Now, I can't even think about it. It doesn't even make sense to me. And I know that sounds preposterous. I might hop on today just to do it, because it's been so long. Just as a hey, I did good. Maybe carve out an hour a week. But I had to cut that off cold turkey completely. Just like alcohol. There was no AA meetings. Bye. Done. See ya. All of that time, you know, when you look back and say, I didn't have enough time, you know, there's not enough time to get this done. I'm trying to start a business. You know, I have one friend who's starting a meadery, and I am the most confident in, is going to get her business off the ground. I'm the most confident in. I think she's dealing with some of the same things that I deal with mentally, but her head is on her shoulders. She's willing to make sacrifices that she might not like to get to where she needs to be, and that's the mindset you have to have. I say this with, yeah, you're right, little experience, for sure. But I can tell you the proof's in the pudding. We all believe that, right? Do you know what I've been able to accomplish in the last month and a half doing what I've been doing? Are you kidding me? I never thought this was possible. I quit smoking weed and quit vaping. All of a sudden, I got more restful sleep. My brain was actually resting instead of being stoned and not being able to rest. You can pass out. Doesn't mean you're sleeping. You're not getting good. You can sleep. It doesn't mean that you're getting rest. Once I quit smoking weed, I started dreaming again. Yeah. Like vivid dreams every single night. And because my conscience is clean, because the woman I'm with right now, I've never cheated on. I'm always honest with. I'm always honest with, to a fault, to the point where I can't even bring up. What was one of the ones the other day? It was like, or like a month or two ago, where I was picking up from work, and we were coming home, and I said, "Yeah, I didn't play the game. I played my video game for 20 minutes, and then, I knew you're at work, so I started doing stuff and this and that, and I mowed the yard, and I got everything done and washed the dog." She's like, "Oh, sweet, thanks, honey. You don't have to worry about that. Just because I'm at work doesn't mean you have to keep working. I work ridiculous hours. You don't have to." I was like, "Yeah, but I want to do that because you're at work working, so I'm going to keep working." And then 2 more minutes into the drive, you know what I had to tell her? I didn't even realize I said it. It was a white lie. You know what I had to tell her? Actually, I played 2 games with Tanner. I was on there from like 5:30 to 6:25. So basically, I played for like an hour, actually. And my wife looks at me like, "Okay, cool. I don't give a shit, but I have to say it." So when I dream. I don't have nightmares. I used to drink myself to sleep and have trouble sleeping in previous relationships because you could blame it on the alcohol. I made a lot of poor decisions on alcohol, and I also stayed in unhealthy relationships that I knew I didn't want to be in because I got comfortable. You know how it is. You get comfortable in something, and then you don't want to change, whether it's a shitty job or, I'm not even going to say a shitty girlfriend, but just not a healthy relationship where it's not what I want. It's not where I'm happy. Mentally, physically, sexually, whatever it is, you're not happy there, and you stay in it, and then you drink, and you drink heavily, and then you cheat or whatever you do to try and like self-sabotage, whatever it was. I don't have any of that anymore. No guilt, no nothing. I feel great. Anyone out there right now that's like, "You're an asshole. What about that time when you..." Fuck, you're probably right, and I'm sorry. My bad. I don't know. My bad. There's a few things I still think about where I'm like, "Damn, man, I wish I never would have done that," but I can't change it. I've come to terms with it. There are things that happened a long time ago, and I can't change them. Tried to build a time machine and go back. Can't. Doesn't work. So, deal with it. Don't drink to forget about it. Just deal with it. Cope. Understand. Life is what it is. And now, I not smoking weed, I sleep and dream. I get restfulness. Quit vaping. No more nicotine. You know what that did? I quit smoking weed, and then a few weeks later, quit vaping. Don't quit them all at once, because you can do it, but you ask people that have gone through recovery for cocaine, other addictions. One of the things that my ex's dad told me, I'll never forget. He went through some problems himself in life, addiction, yada, yada. And he said, "Mike, don't quit it all at once. Pick one, quit it. Get over that hump, then pick another one." Especially if they're really hard to quit and they're really ingrained, like I was with alcohol and cigarettes, marijuana. Never really dabbled in other drugs. I mean, dabbled occasionally, but nothing like... Was never like, "Hey, man, come on, man, I need a rock." Nothing like that. It was always, "Hey, you want to get a bottle? Let's get a bottle." That kind of shit. But once I quit the nicotine, what happened? The appetite came back. I could eat again. I was eating breakfast. I was hungry in the morning. I was eating my lunch that I packed, or my wife packed because she's the sweetest. I was eating it. All of a sudden, I had the muscle coming in because I had the protein and the food. And I had the energy during the day because I got sleep. So when I got off work and I got home, guess what? I wasn't completely drained. Oh, I can hear your excuses now. "Oh, you didn't do a physical job." Some days at work were very physical. Very. Guess what? Still had energy to be up till 10:45 at night. And when I went to bed, only got 5 hours sleep. Guess what? It was real sleep. I woke up No more sugar in my coffee anymore because that debilitates you. That makes you crash. Just coffee and milk. Or if you like your coffee black with sugar, cut the sugar, just black coffee. A little bit of energy, get going. Boom, boom, boom. Every day. And I have been able to conquer life. And I think that the proof is in the pudding. It really is. You don't need to watch that TV show. And there's nothing wrong with watching some shows and like having your leisure time. I'm not saying like kill yourself or anything, but when you spend, do yourself a favor. Go back. If you're trying to start a business or do something, if you're trying to get something going, go back and audit the last week of your life. The last 2 weeks. If the last week's been a little bit of an anomaly, be honest with yourself. Go back and audit the last 2 weeks. You got off work. You came home. What'd you do? Okay. Then what did you do? And those times that you weren't doing what you think, be honest. Don't bullshit yourself. Because you ain't lying to nobody but yourself. Exactly. That time you spent on the television, dicking around on social media instead of doing... If you're trying to build a brand on social media and you're posting for a reason, I get it. And I'm not justifying my posting. I'm being serious. That's part of building a brand in 2019. If you don't think so, you're not thinking. You have to have a social media presence. You have to have some sort of a brand. We're going to the age of voice where everyone's ordering things on Alexa and Google Voice and these other platforms. If your business does not have brand recognition, when somebody says, let's just use Alexa for instance, order this. Order what? Beer? Okay. What beer? Oh, you have to say the brand, don't you? You do. Brand recognition. When your fridge and when your fridge is communicating with your Amazon checklist and it's ordering beer because it knows it's low, you don't think that's here? That's here. That's right around the corner. So when your fridge is ordering beer for you, it's ordering based off brand. It's really important to build your recognition. I'm rambling off in the different directions. My whole point is, if you were to go back and audit your time the last week or 2 weeks into what you're doing, if you can hold your head high and say that I know for a fact that everything I did was right, I was good to go. Okay, well then maybe you don't have time. But for most of us, for 90-something% of us, you dicked off a lot. All the time you spent, and I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but if you go disc golfing 3 times a week and you're playing video games for, an hour at least a day, or maybe 4 or 5 hours a week, and you're drinking on the weekends, one night of the weekend, you're drinking 4 or 5 drinks or 1 or 2 drinks, and you're also watching, 4 or 5 hours of television a week, like honestly audit yourself and your time. Add that time up. What would that have done if you put that into your business and put that into yourself? If you truly have that aspiration to build a business, whether it be with yourself or with a group of friends or with a spouse or whatever it is, and you're trying to get it done, what could you have done with that time? And on that note, I leave you. I have fed you, baby birds. I don't think I'm going to continue calling my audience baby birds. We're going to think of something cool together, y'all. But for right now, I just fed you. You know what I'm saying? I'm that big mother owl, okay? And I'm dropping dead rats of knowledge into your mouths. God, that's horrible. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. That's that. That's the show. That's the podcast. I'm not editing that last part out, no matter how horrible it was. I don't care. It's staying in because I'm going to learn from it. Check out Chromatic Distortion Podcast. I haven't listened to all of them. I've listened to a little bit, and it was pretty cool. I really dig it as far as his pretty much unfiltered knowledge base on that stuff. It seemed pretty cool. I'm gonna end up getting comments. Dude, did you know that? No, I didn't. My bad. But from what I can tell, pretty cool. I peep it out. Yeah, that's it. So if I don't have a listen to that thing I said. Think about that. What is something that you do, like posture, that you're used to doing, whether it's being extroverted or introverted, that you can change or do something different to spread out your personality a little bit. It'll make you happier. It'll make you more well-rounded. Because it's not like you just stay this one way and you're a good person right now and your personality is perfect and you love it Doesn't mean you're going to stay that way. You might actually be slowly turning down more. If you're introverted, you might be going more introverted over time or more extroverted over time to a fault that you would not actually like about yourself in the future. So, interesting. If you're introverted, try asking go get coffee 10 times. And every single time for the next 10 times you get coffee, look them dead in the eye and tell them, and can I get 10% off, please? And don't say another word. Sounds simple, right? If you're an introverted person, asking for something that you don't think you deserve is one of the hardest things you can do. I saw people fail miserably at door-to-door sales asking people for their time the following day for an appointment. It's hard. It's not easy, but it's a very good skill to have, and doing something difficult is good to do, which is why this year, before the year is up in 2019, I'm going to have tried stand-up comedy at an open mic, no matter how much it terrifies me. And I'm also going to take swimming lessons from someone who knows how to deal with people who are scared of being underwater. Traumatic experience when I was younger, and it scares the shit out of me. Being real. But I'm going to do it because I'm going to practice what I preach. And I'm going to show you all that it's doable. You just have to hold yourself accountable and don't BS yourself. You surround yourself with yes people. Stop and think about it for a minute. Are any of those people doing what you want to be doing? Who are you taking your advice from? I'm lucky. My friends and family, they're pretty honest with me. So I luck out there. But anyway, thanks for watching another episode. I appreciate you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share to a friend, comment, whatever your heart desires. Either way, I really appreciate your view, and I'm happy you came to check out the content. Up here, you're going to see something about subscribing to the channel, and over here, you're going to see next week's episode or last week's episode, depending on when you're watching this. Appreciate you. Take care.